I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And today we're going to be talking about my ex was scared of commitment. Commitment is a scary thing when you think about it, right?
It really is, yeah.
When, you get into a relationship, it's fun and exciting and it's new and you think it's going to go great, but then with time, you realize that the other person has needs and there's obligations and there's responsibilities, and not everybody can handle that.
Yeah. And commitment is a big reason why relationships break up in the first place.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about that fear of commitment and how it often causes a breakup. Because a lot of times you could have been dating somebody for years, and the chemistry is really good. And a lot of times when you have time together and you're spending time together, it's fun and it's great, and there's just that really intense attraction and chemistry that you fall in love with. But there are things beyond that that can make the person feel like, I can't handle this. Like those responsibilities or obligations that people have.
Yeah.
And so that feels like pressure to them. And if that person starts to feel too much pressure and it overwhelms them, they might end the relationship.
Yeah, it's pretty common for the person who wants more commitment in the relationship to make the other partner feel pressured, and then the other partner backs away. It's just the dance of how that normally goes.
Yeah.
So just because your ex couldn't handle the commitment doesn't mean that you weren't worth committing to. A lot of times we can take this really personally and think to ourselves, this is never going to happen to me. I don't deserve to be in a committed relationship.
Yeah.
There could be other goals that you want in life, like having a family, having children, that are tied to that commitment. So commitment can be an important value to you. And it's important to remember that their issues with commitment don't stem from you. They were there before you, and they're likely going to be there after you. So consider all of this when thinking about your ex's commitment issues, and also think about where these commitment issues really stem from.
And you made a really good point there, because when you say that their issues come from before you and they're going to continue after, think about that. Because when you see your ex going and dating somebody new, you're terrified that this next person, it's going to go great. It's going to be so good with them. I know they're going to get married. I know I felt that way before.
Yeah.
I was really afraid of those very things happening. But those commitment issues aren't going to magically go away. The issues that they struggle with you are likely to come up in other relationships. Not always, because different issues will come up when two people are dating, right?
Yeah.
But it's important to understand that just because your ex starts dating somebody new, it doesn't mean that that exciting honeymoon phase that they're going to experience with this new person is going to last, you know?
Exactly.
And it's important to really understand attachment styles.
This is huge.
We all bond and attach to the people in our lives differently. Based on our experiences when we were growing up and how we gave love and love was received and was given love and attention, that's going to have a huge impact on how we are in our commitments, right? In the beginning, when you're just dating and it's casual, we don't have those commitments and it doesn't feel like so much pressure. But as you've dated somebody for an extended amount of time, you start to attach. You start to bond and connect. And if that was overwhelming when you were a child and you kind of had your feelings pushed aside and your parents were like, oh, don't think about that. You're crying for no reason. Stop. I'll give you something to cry about. You have that your whole life.
Yeah.
You wind up becoming avoidant. And you kind of become self-sufficient. I can't count on other people. I can't trust other people. I trust myself to get things done.
Yeah.
And that's often what happens with people that had to grow up in that environment, is they just say, well, I can't trust my own parents. Why would I trust anybody else? And it feels personal, because you're like, I've been so good to you. I've never done that to you. Why wouldn't you trust me? And sometimes they make you feel like it's you, but it's really their long history that's caused them to become like this.
Yeah, you have to remember that as a kid, they gave up on a lot of people before you even came along. So these issues do have really deep roots in their life. Another thing that we see with the avoidant attachment style is FOMO. So if you're not familiar with this term, it stands for the fear of missing out. And this is the idea that there's always something better out there. No matter how great your relationship is, there's still some ethereal being that's going to fulfill all of your unmet childhood needs. They're going to be perfect. They're going to know what you want even without you asking for it. So it's, as Margaret says, it's the wish of your childhood self to have this person. You think, maybe in adulthood I'll find this love like that. It's not real. It's obviously a fantasy. Of course, there's going to be people who say, I found my one true love and things like that. But for anybody who's been in any relationship for any length of time, you know that it takes work, that it's not always butterflies and roses. So
it would be nice.
It would be nice.
Especially if the butterflies are on the roses.
Oh.
Then even nicer.
The combo.
But yeah, you make a good point, because what we see a lot of times with someone with an avoidant attachment style is this fantasy that it's supposed to be easy.
Yeah.
And they may have told you that. This relationship is too much work. Relationships are supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be like this. And they really believe that.
Yeah.
They really believe that relationships are supposed to be easy like that. And Margaret and I have had many discussions about this over the years, and we kind of go into a Freudian way of looking at this, of this wish fulfillment.
Yeah.
That they're going to have this mommy that takes care of them, or daddy that takes care of them, and they don't have to ask for what they want. They don't have to tell you what they want. They don't have to worry about your needs and obligations. Just imagine being a very small baby. You don't have to do anything to get your needs met, right? You just cry, you hope that you get picked up, changed, tickled, loved, fed, all that good stuff. Well, a lot of times the avoidant didn't get that in their early childhood. And so they're hoping that their partner is almost going to be like a mommy daddy figure and do those things that they never had. And so in their unconscious, that deep desire to be treated like a baby or be taken care of is what their ideal relationship is.
Yeah.
If you get your needs met, you aren't expecting your partner to intuit what you want and know. You should know.
Yeah.
I used to do a joke in my act. You should know, right? Where your partner should know what you want.
Exactly.
And it's, no, that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
You should tell me, and then I'll know. Tell me, then I'll know. But this illusion or fantasy of meet all of these needs that I have is really because it's this unfulfilled period of life where an infant or a small child or baby didn't get those things.
Yeah, and I really think that this fantasy speaks to the innate desire to want connection as a human being. We're all wired for connection, even those who have suffered horrible childhoods and abuse and had no reason to think that any type of connection is safe. I think there's somewhere deep inside of us on a survival level that needs us to connect with others. So this is to say that even those with avoidant attachment styles might want that connection, but they might not be capable of that commitment.
Yeah. And that's important to understand, is that if that's, an issue that they have, that's not your fault, on some level, they do want that commitment. They do want that connection. And it feels very real to them. But when it becomes too much, that they have to talk about things like in a way they've never done. They have to think about feelings in a way that they've been told to push aside their whole life. It just becomes so overwhelming. And a lot of times they'll end their relationships or they'll sabotage, right? They'll get angry at you about things that are like, wait, you're upset about what? And now they can use that thing against you, and it keeps you at a distance. For example, I had somebody that I did a call with, I think it was yesterday, that the ex would keep bringing something up for over a year, and so it kept them from getting close together. Like, maybe we've been together 30 years, and you know, in the present moment, you're like, well, you used to leave and go play soccer all the time and leave me at home with the kids. Well, what that does is, now it keeps the dynamic of the present moment in a position of power. I'm controlling the dynamic because I'm holding something against you for 30-something years. But it's how I control the present. It's not healthy to do.
And the ironic thing about this is that even those with avoidant attachment styles can have desires to commit. So they might have dreams of starting a family, they might have dreams of getting married and of having that commitment. It's just the steps to make that actualize that are really difficult for them. So the speaking about your feelings, the communication, all of that they haven't been taught growing up. They never seen it. Maybe they didn't have good role models. Maybe they were never encouraged to speak about their feelings.
Or probably all of the above.
Exactly. So one thing that we do want to leave you with before we end is to think about what your goals and dreams are. If your ex was the person with the commitment issues, you have to think about what's in it for you. And for some of you, maybe your ex was an avenue for bigger goals and dreams. Maybe you did have plans of starting a family, and this was somebody that you felt would be, you know, a good parent with you or a good co-parent with you. So it's not only the breakup itself that hurts, but it's also the dissolution of your dreams and goals that you had together. And you also have to consider for yourself, maybe you wanted the commitment more than you wanted that person.
That's true. That's a big thing. You know, sometimes people are like, I want to get married, I want to get married, I want to get married. And it's not necessarily, I want to get married to so-and-so. It's, I just want to be married. And that's a big difference. And people can feel that, believe it or not. And I know because I had an ex many years ago that wanted to get married. And I was like, you know, we're young. We don't need to talk about marriage yet. But the biggest thing we fought about was getting engaged, right? That was probably the number one fight, where it just reminded me of Smeagol with the ring. Like, oh, that's the precious. She was always about the ring. And me and my friends would laugh about it because it was so much. But, you know, people can sense that if it's really about you or about the commitment and you just want them to be there as a placeholder. So you got to think about if you've ever done that, because you don't want to make somebody feel like that. You know? Ultimately, people need to work through their issues. We all have issues. We all grow up with struggles in our childhood. And you want to act like an adult so you can bring your best into a relationship. You know, you want the person to want to be with you. And sometimes there are points where that person doesn't want to be with you. It could only have to do with their own childhood issues and not you as a person. And it feels very personal, but a lot of times it's not. But you want them to want the commitment. Because if they don't really want it and they feel like they're forced to do it, it's just going to wind up in a breakup anyway.
Yeah, I think this is huge, that you can't force readiness on anyone. And what you can see oftentimes is after a breakup, let's say you break up with the person who didn't want to commit because they didn't want to commit, you might see that person promising you the world all of a sudden. now they're ready for marriage. Now they're ready for kids after this long time of saying no over and over again to you. So you do want to be aware that they might say anything to relieve that anxiety of being away from you and still not be ready for that commitment. So you want to take a critical look of what they're actually doing to work on those commitment issues if you do decide to try to repair a relationship with them.
Yeah, that's a really important point, because there are a lot of people that are with somebody for like 10 years and then all of a sudden they get broken up with, and now they're anxious and devastated, and I see the light. I'm going to buy you that ring. I want to give you kids. I want to marry you. I want to live with your parents. All of these crazy things that, well, not so crazy, but all of these things that somebody wanted. But it's crazy that all of a sudden now they're saying, I want it. When you're like, I've been fighting with you for 10 years to have kids. You said no, and now I can't do it anymore, and now you want to have kids with me? And it's enough to make you crazy and angry. Yeah. Right?
And 10 years is not even an exaggeration.
No, it's not. And I remember one of the first times I saw this, it was with somebody that I knew locally, and she had this ex that she was with for like 10 years, and he didn't want to get engaged. He didn't want to get married. He didn't want to have kids. And sure as she broke up with him, he wanted all those things. And I remember thinking, wow, what? This is, and then the whole situation just spiraled and got crazy. But I remember it because it's the first time I really saw that. But it happens a lot.
Yeah. So it is really important to take a critical look at what they're telling you after and their actionable steps towards that. But once again, you can't push somebody for what they don't want to do. What you can do is focus on yourself. We always say that. We can't let a video go by without telling you to focus on yourself. And really think about what your values are and who can provide that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be really heart-wrenching to have to let somebody go that you do have so much chemistry with.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you really want somebody that has the ability to be there for you in the long run. And sometimes you have to walk away for your own self-worth. It's tough, but you can't allow yourself to be mistreated or neglected.
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully you found this video helpful. Of course, if you want to get my help personally, you can go on my website, askcraig.net. Sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching and I do Skype. And of course, Coach Victoria will continue to be in videos with us, training.
I'll be here.
But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon. To get my help personally, go to askcraig.net and click on Schedule Coaching and choose the option that works best for you. I do email coaching or Skype. To schedule a coaching with Margaret, click on Margaret on the top of the page and order a Skype with her. For the Knowledge Creative Healing course, click on the link at the top of the page and click Get Started Now.